Connie's Top Fuel dragster has been a business, a hobby, and a way of life for close to 30 years. Now his successful flying service sponsors a two-car team. Experienced crew chief Larry Fraser oversees the crew, including the spirited youngsters on Scott Kalitta's funny car.
They're real easy to work with. We're all right about the same age. Robert and Randy are 22 and I'm 24, and you know, we all like the same things, and you know, we're just three kids that are out to try and do the best and show these old men up.
But winning a national event title is not to be taken lightly, as Connie and Larry know. At the previous race, the NHRA Spring Nationals, Kalitta's dragster was plagued by serious mechanical problems. The blower explosion could easily have put them out of the race, but Connie, Larry, and the crew didn't give up. With a lot of sweat and much hard-earned knowledge, they were able to beat the odds. In the final round, when world champion Joe Amato broke on the starting line, the victory seemed ironically easy. No race is ever easy. This time it's the funny car, as shards of a broken blower in the trash reveal. But Connie's son knows just what to do.
Put a brand new blower on it and a brand new injector and go on out there.
There's no rush this morning, the last day of qualifying. The Kalitta team has plenty of time to work on the engine and prepare spare parts for race day. It'll be a long day because their two qualifying runs won't be until late afternoon and evening. Connie's mercurial personality allows him to enjoy both this leisure and the inevitable thrashing to come.
I watch a lot what they're doing just to make sure that there's not something wrong going on. And we get real busy. I get right in there and pitch with them and help with them on it. I'm not afraid of doing it. I've done it all my life, and it's fun. I enjoy it.
There was a time when Connie could do everything himself. But since drag racing's become so sophisticated, and especially now with two cars, he needs another experienced old hand like Larry.
He's an excellent mechanic. He's one of the better tuners in the sport, and him and Connie and our whole team really seemed to click good together when he came aboard.
You know, he looks and sees what's going on and doesn't say too much about it. And sometimes I've got to actually force it to make a comment on something. You know, I need to take and sort of dig it out of him a little bit. He has his ideas about things, and so do I, and I've always given him the consideration that let's talk about it and let's decide together. Let's, you know, the weather's good with us today. We make a decent lap with this thing, the first one, and we want to think about putting that 20 gearbox back in this thing. What do you think?
Well, I'm a little more quieter than Connie, maybe, but we get along good. We get along good. I don't have much to say. He just tells you what he wants done, you do it, and that's the end of it. The hardest part, probably trying to make the right decision as far as tune-up or clutch work or whatever it might be. You can make the wrong move, and it'll tear up a lot of things.
The rest of the crew may not have Larry or Connie's wealth of experience, but for their ages, they're all very knowledgeable about racing and highly skilled in working on these supercharged engines. Tim Farrell is responsible for the right half of the engine on Connie's dragster.
I've known Tim for, his father works for NHRA. I've known Tim 6-7 years. You know, when you grow up in a racing family, a drag racing family, you grow up at a racetrack, and it's sort of like in your blood. This is what I want to do, and this is what my life is all about.
I'd say the two biggest people that have helped me in drag racing are my dad, number one, because he's the one that brought me into the sport, and he showed me what it was like to race without any money, and Conrad, because he's probably forgot more about the sport than I'll know. I don't know, it'd be nice to be a crew chief on a car, in the next few years or whatever, and have the say-so over how the tuning gets done and what decisions are to be made and stuff like that.
One step up for Tim is dealing with manufacturers' technical reps who offer assistance. Meanwhile, Connie's got time for a stroll through the pits.
Hi, Connie. Oh, hey, good to see you.
Well, I go out there and stir the pot a little bit, and agitate, and basically really enjoy. This is what I do for enjoyment, for relaxation, and it's also a business portion of it too. And the people that we're involved with, some of them I've known 30 years. I go back to the office Monday and I run my airline. I come here in the weekend and play with my race car and try and do good and just have fun with my friends. Tim Richards probably the one I have more fun with than anybody. He's a good old guy, and he's a lot of fun to go race with, and a lot of fun to beat, too. You're in trouble.
Oh, no, you're in trouble.
No, that's wishful thinking on your part, Tim. It's okay. That's all right. We'll find out tomorrow. We can razz each other and charge each other's batteries up, you might say. But when it comes down to racing and stuff, we're all hard racers, and we all want to win.
The younger generation of drag racers also has plenty of competition in their blood. And as they work and travel together, they share experiences that will bond them like a family. Of course, for Connie, this is a family team. Doug Kalitta, Connie's nephew, also works at the flying service.
Normally during the week, he spends it back in the shop. On the weekend, he comes racing with me. Doug is good people. He's very conscientious, an excellent welder. And then he comes here and he wrenches, doesn't say much, pretty much on the quiet side. When we go skiing together, he tries to kill himself.
Fun-loving Randy Green is from California, where his parents own a racetrack.
He's always got all the trick California sayings like awesome and that's happening and radical and all that. And Randy's grew up in the sport, so he knows all the personalities, and he can imitate quite a few of the racers out there. He does a Kenny Bernstein imitation that Bernstein would be proud of.
Randy's sort of the ladies' man, I guess. He probably won't like that, but that's sort of the truth in it.
We like to go out and have fun. There's a few of us. A couple people are married, but a few of us are single, and the ones of us that are, we go out and look around, see how we can do.
One of Randy's party mates is Robert Reed, who does the funny cars' heads and clutch.
Robert and Randy have known each other since like they were about 10 years old. They used to race together. Their fathers raced together in California. Robert, he comes up, he's a nicknamer. He's big on making up nicknames for everybody. That's probably about the biggest thing about him. He's famous for making up nicknames. Everybody's got one.
Besides driving the funny car, Scott works the top of the engine along with Robert.
Scott is a really good guy. He's like a 23-year-old Connie. He's got so much of his dad in him that you can't believe it, and he don't like it when you tell him that. Because when Scott's 45 years old, he'll be just like his dad.
And it's a very good feeling to do it. Grow up with your son, go and race with him, work with him. He works with the company, and he gets involved a little bit in the flying, which is something I hope down the road he'll get a little bit more interest in it. But the race car is so demanding right now, there just isn't any spare time to be doing too much other than staying with the car.
He keeps you on your toes. He's always on his, that's for sure. So you just got to keep everything in order. It's harder because there's more pressure because he's my dad and everything, you know. But it's easier in the aspect that he's a good teacher. He's done it all forever, and you know I've been doing it with him forever myself, and never a dull moment.
What did I just tell you about that blower? Have you checked it? Huh? Pay attention to what I tell you. Let's feel that blower. Make sure there ain't nothing dumb happening to that thing. That's a new manifold and a new blower, okay?
Experience has taught Connie how careful you must be. Knowing when to be serious and when to have fun is second nature for an old pro like Connie. At the 4 p.m. qualifying session, he watches both with a competitor's professional interest and a concern for his old cronies. When Big Daddy Don Garlett's new aerodynamic dragster catches some air and flips, the competitors react spontaneously. The bond between men who face a common challenge can be stronger than that between father and son. But there's no generation gap present when Scott watches Connie's qualifying run. Connie smokes the tires, but the run is fast enough to move Connie up from the 15th qualifier to 11th. Before Larry and Scott can analyze Connie's run, Randy pulls Larry away. They found a noise in the funny car's rear end.
Yeah, ain't no sense of blowing something up, see.
No sense of blowing the
Motor up or something, you know.
I'd rather end up number 9.
We just have to run tonight, yeah, or whatever.
Thankfully, it's nothing serious, and the rear end will be ready for the next qualifying session. But by missing the last round, the funny car is dropped from 8th to 9th fastest qualifier. And tonight's run is the last before race day.
Cars will run better at nighttime. So you qualify a lot better at nighttime than you do in the heat of the day. See, the race will be noon or 1 o'clock, and the conditions change, the track change. So if you run good tonight, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run good tomorrow.
It's almost 8:45 when Connie approaches the starting line. His run is clean, and the dragster's elapsed time improves, moving Connie further up the ladder to 8th fastest qualifier. A half an hour later, Connie watches his son stage for the start. Within feet, Scott has trouble. Quickly, he shuts down and pulls to the side. A smart reaction you'd expect from a more seasoned driver. Back in the pit, the crew breaks down the engine. The problem, a weak part of the block gave out. And with no spare engine, they'll have to weld it up. Then a well-known machinist known as the Indian will make a new cylinder sleeve. At 11 p.m., fans still watch, but the crew will be up all night in order to be ready for race day tomorrow. It's Sunday morning, race day. Loyal fans gather at the Kalitta pit as early as 8 a.m. to watch Scott install the new cylinder sleeve just delivered. Connie and Larry confer, as usual, about the critical tuning for the first round. Everything looks normal except that the crew is tired and is working more carefully than usual to avoid mistakes. For Connie, there's enough time to visit with Tim Richards and project who will win each round.
Beck? Yeah. Beck will run a 40 if the racetrack is there.
He didn't do it last night, though.
Huh?
He didn't do it last night.
He had a bad mag. He was over there and hit the points off the mag.
Really?
Yeah.
When it's time to warm up the cars, Connie and Larry combine their experience to look for possible trouble. Their trained ears hear something wrong. Probing, Larry finds what he suspected, a fluid leak. This is the kind of thing that can happen if you're not very careful, or if you're real tired. It's easy to fix, but it could have been serious on the track, with all the heat these 2,500 horsepower engines build up. As the first pair of top fuel dragsters race, Larry observes with a trained eye. Connie goes from jovial to serious within only seconds as he prepares to duel with his old friend and competitor, Chris Karamessini's the Golden Greek. Connie's qualified as the 8th fastest, the Greek 16th. Kalitta's been around too long to underestimate any racer, particularly an old master like the Greek. Connie beats him off the line. Then he smokes the tires. Larry almost can't believe it. Even though Connie got the win, it was because the Greek broke down. Larry reads the track to analyze the problem. Waiting back in the lanes, the funny car teams have time to socialize, and Randy does his imitations.
I want you up here in line without wearing your shirt.
Dale.
Budweiser too.
Scott's too anxious to make jokes as he waits to race. Connie's dragster is back in the pit and being prepared for the second round. The crew has only 90 minutes, and without hesitation, Connie jumps in. Connie and Larry make sure they're on the line when it's the funny car's turn to run. With no run last night, Scott's qualified 10th. He'll run against the fastest car in the field, but Connie's not thinking of the competition. He's thinking of his son.
It's always a concern. It's a concern you see anybody go down a race car one of these things. You're going 250 miles an hour. and the funny car is much more vulnerable to the fire than what the dragster is. I mean, I've gotten in a car and I've been on fire. I've driven the funny cars. I've been on fire in the funny cars, and that's one of the most critical things that bother me is a fire in the car. And they're nasty, but the equipment and stuff we got now is pretty good. And Scott's a very capable driver, and he's very savvy. He can feel what the car is doing, and so, you know, we're racing, and I've got no qualms about it. I mean, I'll get in the car, he will, and it's a gamble, it's a chance you take. We try to put the best equipment in the car so we don't have that problem.
In this first round, Scott will have to beat the defending world champion, Kenny Bernstein. They leave together, and Scott's got great traction. Then Connie's worst fear. The safety trucks are already rolling as Scott brings the bodiless car to a stop and gets out without a scratch. Through all this, Tim and George Henderson continue to prepare Connie's top fuel dragster for the second round. George is the diver.
I have to, of course, knock all the pistons and rods out and check all your main bearings just to make sure there's no damage there. You always have to check what you can see of the block and your main studs, and make sure your crankshaft's in good condition. I like it because everything down there is my own. That's everything down on the bottom is my own job, and I can just handle that all by myself.
The major change made in the dragster to correct for the last run is in the clutch, which Larry does personally. The funny car crew pick over the damaged parts, trying to analyze what went wrong. Once more, they warm up the dragster. They've set the balance between the fuel system and the clutch, the elusive combination that even years of experience won't guarantee you'll find.
Is number 3 really heavy on the idle? You see a number 3 being heavy on the idle?
Yeah, three's heavy, but I mean, it doesn't try to drop it or nothing stupid like that. It's the heaviest cylinder in the motor, though.
The Kalitta team is ready. Separate his time into quarter mile from Kalitta's. They leave the line together, but Connie smokes the tires. Then the engine drops a cylinder, and Connie has to back off. Out of reflex, the crew breaks the engine down again. A lot of work will be done before they get on the road tonight. They've got to be ready to win the next race only 1 week from now. The tension is gone now from most of the crew's faces. But an ambitious young racer like Scott can't help taking it personally.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if we didn't blow everything we own up. You know, if we still had a race car sitting there, it wouldn't be so bad. And if my dad had won, you know, it would have helped our spirits a little bit. You know, his a lot and mine a little.
Even though Scott's hard on himself, he can draw strength from his teammates, who are also his friends.
They're real motivated, you know. I mean, the car was running good and everything, and it wasn't the fact that we made errors in the tuning or whatnot. It was just a mechanical failure, and it gives them something to look forward to.
One thing older veterans have learned is that no matter how long you race or how successful you are, you never stop paying your dues.
It's hard. You don't like to lose. We come here to win. You know, we race hard. We race to win. You know, whatever it takes, we'll put in the car to make it work. It's just hard. It's hard to go back. I mean, to make you go back and make you try that much harder. So when we come back out next time, our organization will be a little better. Probably going to be doing some testing, I think, within the next couple of weeks, just to iron out some of our problems, because the direction that we're going is not working well, and it's being hard on the blocks. I think this is evident of Scott's car. We figured, I guess, it's broken a crankshaft in it, and it shouldn't have done that.
Well, you don't like to lose, but you come back next week. We'll win next week. We'll be back.
For the hidden heroes of the Kalitta drag racing team, I'm Dave Bowman.